2, 3, 4.
2019's near, it's practically here. Resolutions are clear, so have no fear, don't shed a tear. Last year's in the rear, let's have good cheer as GMG rings in a brand new year. Good morning, my brothers and sisters. This is our 17th episode of the Good Morning Guys podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we continue discussing the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and play. I am one of your hosts, the one and only Brazilian mountaineer Lucas Ham, and also to my left, the judge, jury, and executioner of fake news, Patrick Novosel.
Happy New Year, and man, that was a great beginning. I love it.
Love it. Our resident renegade also is to my left, who can make you laugh in 3 words or less, Ronnie Johantis.
Heyo.
And last but certainly not least, a man with music in his heart and Doctor Who on his brain, a Marc Boucher.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to Oh, hey, how's it going?
Oh, hey.
Hello.
That was also beautiful. We got to spread out the singing. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. If it's not, then welcome back. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're joining us on the last GMG podcast of 2018. It is great to be with you guys today.
And also with you.
And also with you. I was like, oh, here I am by myself. It's
all by myself.
Already 2 minutes in, and we've sang 3 times, 3 different songs. 2 real, 1 fake. Which song was fake news, Patrick? Go.
All of them.
All of them? That is not correct.
So, Mark, you know the lyrics to the New Year's theme? I don't know. What is it called? New Year's theme?
It's called
the New Year's theme.
It's called Auld Lang.
It's
called
like
Auld
country
Lang.
It's the
theme
national
songs.
anthem of New Year's. I don't know.
Yes, just like all the country's theme songs.
The song is called Auld Lang Syne. It means days gone by.
What language is that?
Oh,
in?
hold on. Let me look it up. Yep, fake news.
Yeah, fake
Well,
news.
Well, that was awfully quick. I know
Oh,
Google's
yeah,
quick,
no,
but not that quick.
What'd you call it?
Kind of
Ulterior
internet speeds
motive?
are you
What was
using
it?
there, Patrick?
What'd you...
What?
What's happening?
The song is called Auld Lang Syne, which I want to say is Latin, but I'm not sure on that, and I'm probably wrong about that.
Wait,
He doesn't know. Fake news.
Auld
Whatever.
Lang Syne means Latin?
No, is Latin.
Oh.
I'm behind you, Mark, if that means anything.
Don't make me slap you through the internet.
Since let's cut away from the fake news for a moment and get into some real news. Do you guys know that we have 10 reviews in iTunes?
Oh,
Yes.
Snap.
Uh-oh, Mark.
Awesome.
And so Mark has no more excuses. It's time for him to get
not.
crazy. Am I right, Mark?
I have prolonged this long enough, and
That's right.
so I'm a little hesitant to see what I'm gonna do with this game, but I've got to figure out a time. So basically, I'm going to be playing probably one of the girliest games that I think is on PS4. It's like my little riding stable or something like that. I'm trying to find the name of the game. Yeah. I'm trying to find the link to the game. I can't find it at the
Little
moment.
riding stable. This is a good
My little riding stable.
It's like my little riding stable or
pony.
So not only are you going to play it, but you're streaming it, right?
yeah. I'm gonna stream it.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Okay, no, excuse me. It's My Little Riding Champion.
Oh, that sounds way better.
Yeah.
You get prizes in this one. That sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
So not only am I buying this game, This game is currently $17.99 on the PSN store. I am wasting
Whoa.
effectively. Well, not
No, you're
quite
not.
wasting.
It's worth it. Totally worth it.
I'm gonna buy this game. I'm going to play it, and I'm going to stream it. And you'll have to pay attention to the GMG Twitter and my Twitter or whatever, so I can figure out a date and time that I'm going to go ahead and stream it. And then I will, of course, upload it to the GMG YouTube page
What kind
for
of
all
game?
to see.
What kind of game is that? Is that a 2D side scroller, like a 3D Mario? What kind of a game is that?
No, it looks almost like a horseback riding sim, where basically you can train your horse, you can customize your character, you can customize your horse. There are actual stables where you brush your horse and all that kind of stuff, and yeah.
All right,
It's like
well,
Red
hey,
Dead Redemption, except you can't kill anybody.
Yeah, basically.
sounds magical. Now, Mark, I think you need to stop there because you're definitely giving away the farm, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, now you know
I
who
have
you had
not
to
played
thank
this
for
game, obviously.
review, right?
So, say what?
You know who you have to thank for this review, right?
Oh, I do, but I'm going to let
Yeah.
him say who it is.
Who is
first,
it?
let's read this person's review. The title of their review, the subject line is "not biased at all," so I'm guessing that means they're totally biased. They had this to say: "This podcast is a great way to start your day. The guys always bring a combination of fun and serious topics everyone can connect with. They talk about family, games, life, sports, and even the occasional public bathroom pet peeve. Give these guys a listen for a couple good laughs. Just a couple, not 3 or 4, a dozen.
Not many.
Just a couple laughs.
Just two. Just
Not
two.
many laughs.
If you're looking for two,
You know what?
laughs,
We got 5 stars, so that's all that matters."
Sweet.
Who was the author of this review?
Yeah, who was it? Was it Patrick?
It's freaking Ronnie. It's freaking Ronnie Johantis. That's who it is.
Yeah,
Ronnie.
Johantis. Bringing it in. Thank you, Ronnie, for bringing us to 10 reviews. That's
Oh,
now.
man, I would have done this way earlier if I knew Mark was going to be playing the My Little Pony game.
Yeah, now you know. And now you know it's all worth
I
it.
wish.
So
I honestly
worth it.
wish they had a My Little Pony game for PS4 or Xbox One, but I could not find that.
You wish that?
Yes,
You
because
really
that would be. I feel like that would be even more hilarious to play.
He really does. You know what? If anybody out there has inside information on the My Little Pony game or even a girlier game that Mark could play, you can find us on, of course, Twitter at the GMG Podcast. You can write us on email, thegoodmorningguys@gmail.com, or you can call us on the phone, 929-GMG-GUYS. And you can leave a message about the girliest game Mark can play, unless it's just going to be My Little Stable Champion?
My Little Riding Champion.
My Little Riding Champion? My Little Ponies Riding Stable Champion?
You're going to forever be introduced that way. My Little Riding Champion, Mark.
Yes, that's his new nickname.
I hate you all.
Last but certainly not least, My Little Riding Champion, Marc Aboucher.
He's not just the Little Riding Champion. He's my Little Riding Champion.
That's right. You've effectively changed your nickname on the show, just so you know.
Oh,
Good job, Ronnie. Thanks
Great times.
Thanks for that. All right, guys. Well, before we jump into our topic of the show, breaking in the new year, let's give a little update of what's been going on. It's actually only been, 4 days since we recorded?
Yeah, I think it's 4 days.
Am I remembering correctly?
Last Wednesday, so yeah, 4 days.
Yeah. We recorded late
Sunday
because of Christmas, so we recorded after Christmas on Wednesday, and now it's Sunday night, New Year's Eve, and we're recording again. So, guys, what's been happening the last 4 days? Anything interesting, exciting? Let's start with Marc Boucher on my left.
so my week was basically back to the work grind. It was difficult going back to work because I had to go right back to work on Wednesday, and that was quite difficult. One would think like, oh man, only a 3-day work week? That's awesome. Yeah, it was just kind of rough after being off for that long, and I was like, oh, now I got to work again. But got back into it. Now, I wanted to sort of plug something real quick that I've been watching. I enjoy watching this. They do it twice a year, and I enjoy every time they do it. So y'all know I'm a huge Zelda fan, right? And
Yeah, for sure.
and so this group of people, it's like 2 times a year, they do what's called the Zelda-thon, and basically they stream every single Legend of Zelda game. And they make it interesting. They have all sorts of donation incentives and like secret sounds that play and all that kind of stuff. But basically, it's to raise money for charity. I believe it's a company called Direct Relief that provides medical and I want to say food aid and stuff like that to different places, different countries needing that type of stuff. And they raise a bunch of money every year.
That's really cool. It's like a Zelda specific Extra Life. It sounds
Yeah.
like I'd
And it goes-
never heard of it.
And it goes for longer. It actually goes for like 6 days. So they have people doing specific runs of the games. Like this person does Link to the Past. This person does Ocarina of Time. This person does this game, and so on.
Cool.
And they have a camera set up to where it's people like sitting on a couch. And there's all sorts of little fun things that they like to do throughout the stream to kind of motivate people to donate and stuff. And yeah, they raise a lot of money. So that is going on right now. So if you want to check that out, I believe you can go to zeldathon.net. They have a Twitch stream right now where they're streaming the marathon. But I love watching that every year. I've already supported. They actually work with the T-shirt design company. Have you ever heard of the Yeti?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Microphones?
No, not that Yeti.
Wrong.
Oh,
The
wrong
Yeti
word.
is... No, not that Yeti.
Oh, okay.
Thermoses.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so nobody knows. Okay. So the Yeti is basically like a
monster.
pop culture... No!
Oh yes, I've heard of the monster. Is that the same thing?
No, not
Now,
at all. In
What
fact,
are
it's-
the superpowers of this Yeti monster? Can you tell me?
You
Well,
answered
you have-
wrong. It is who is the monster?
Why is the monster? Is what I want to know.
I'll do you one better. No. It's actually
Does it
spelled
have a
differently.
blowhole?
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
You have to use Yeti technology to kill it. But no, the Yeti spelled differently. It's the YETEE.com. It's basically a clothing line. They make pop culture shirts and
Stuff.
and stuff like
Okay.
stuff. And so they actually they sell these specific shirts for the Zeldathon, and they are like I think it's like $4 of it goes to the charity that Zeldathon is supporting with every sale that they make on shirts. So I bought a shirt from them, which is awesome.
Cool.
So I know that was kind of long-winded, but definitely go check that out.
It's all right. We didn't really help the matter, so.
I'm sitting here trying to help for charity, and y'all are just sitting here poking the bear and making fun of me. What the heck? Or should I say poking the Yeti?
Poking the Yeti. They're going to remember the Zeldathon and the Yeti that is sponsoring the Zeldathon and its superpowers.
Yes. And then Friday night, we actually had some extended family come in from out of town, and we had
Time
a nice
for some
dinner.
vomiting cats.
No, not yet. we did
wrong-
not
wrong
partake
group
with them.
of people.
Yeah.
Did not.
Well,
partake.
it was the same. It was the same group of people. It's just extended family from that group, if that makes sense.
They're not cool enough for vomiting cats.
No, I wouldn't say that. It's just there was too many people for that time.
Fair enough.
But there were a bunch of family from out of town that came and visited, so we got to have dinner with them and hang out, and we actually had an awesome time of just spontaneous worship. My brother-in-law and I are both worship leaders, so they're always like, "Hey, bring your guitar over and we'll play something." So we just started worshiping together, and that was awesome.
Nice.
So that was a great time. And then Saturday was cleanup day. Basically, we're trying to purge as much stuff as possible and trying to make room for a certain bookshelf of the phone booth / Tartarus variety that is coming here on Tuesday. So I'm excited that we're finally going to get that and a chair in here. We're trying to make this office like a legit office.
Can you make sure that when you stream My Little Pony Riding Champion that you have the Tartarus in the background with My Little Ponies on the shelves? That would be awesome.
That means I'd have to bring it downstairs to to play. I mean, I could, I suppose, but no, I'm not doing that at all.
You were scaring me for a moment. I thought you were really going to do it.
No, I'm not going to do it.
That would be crazy.
It would be. So, yeah, Saturday was mainly a cleanup day, and then today I actually got to meet up with one Mr. Gabe Patillo from the Married to the Games podcast.
Nice.
He is, if you don't know, he plays with an artist. He's a Christian artist named Toby Mac, and the Diverse City Band. And they are playing Liberty every year, Liberty University. They do this big end of the year, New Year's Eve kind of festival thing called Winterfest. And Toby is playing here tonight. So my wife and I got to meet up with him for lunch, which was awesome. Always good to see him and laugh with him and all kinds of stuff. It was great to see him again. And then
Definitely.
On the gaming front, I think the only thing I played this week was Onrush, honestly, which I'm sure you guys will talk about. I think that was mainly what I played.
Good old PS Plus.
Yeah, I was happy for that. Like, normally I wouldn't play that type of a game, but it was pretty fun. I enjoyed playing with Lucas and Patrick after the podcast last. Gosh, what day was that? Wednesday?
It was.
Gotcha. But that's mainly the gaming that I did. So yeah, that's my week at a glance. Patrick, how was your week, good sir?
Well, since we recorded only 4 days ago, not much has happened, except I went to see Aquaman on Friday night with the wife.
Yeah.
Aquaman does whatever a merman can. Swims
Yep,
around.
that's how the movie starts.
Yep.
With the original music,
Is it?
just
That
like
would
that.
be-
It's fantastic. Yeah,
That would be awesome.
I knew I was in for a ride when they started that music up.
No doubt.
But no, both my kids had sleepovers on Friday night over family's house. So my wife and I had a date night, and we went to see Aquaman. And I did not watch any Aquaman trailers or previews. I had no desire to see this movie. All I heard was the critics, both the critics and from word of mouth, that this movie was actually good. So I was like, yeah, okay, let's go check it out.
Give it a try.
And man, Mark, you did not talk up Aquaman because I was so taken aback by how good this movie was. The score in this movie felt like it was from Marvel. It wasn't like any of the other DC movies where it was all dark and serious. I mean, this one had fun. This one was very lighthearted. There was some jokes in there. I had some belly laughs. This was a good movie. It felt like more along the lines of like a Guardians of the Galaxy kind of thing,
Really?
where it's got a pretty good story, pretty good origin story, and then but it was also funny. It was colorful. It wasn't dark and gloomy like any of the other DC movies. Since it was an origin story, they had to go back in time. And the actors that they had in present day, they also had back in the past. So they had to make them look younger. And one of the characters in the movie is Willem Dafoe. His character, I mean, like if you see Willem Dafoe, he's not like the most handsome kind of guy, but when they made him look young,
No,
I'm like, wow.
he is ugly.
I wasn't gonna say that.
Wow.
But
Just come
they
right
made
out
him
with
look
that.
young. It was really well done. It reminded me of when Marvel makes their characters young. You know, like when they made Captain America young, and young and skinny, and Iron Man, they made him young. You know, back in high school and college days, it felt like that. I'm like, this is really well done. And then the multiple actors for Aquaman that growing up, like the toddler, the teenager. I think there was another boy. I think there was like 3 different stages, but I mean, like the little boys that they had cast to play as Aquaman as a young person looked like it would have been Jason Momoa as a young kid. It was just really well done. It wasn't a perfect movie, but it was just. I know you said you gave it 4 out of 5 turkey legs last week or something like that, whatever it was. I would give it a solid 9 out of 10. It was a movie that I would want to see again because it was that good of a movie. So yeah.
Wait, you gave it 9 out of 10. What? He gave it 4 out of 5 turkey legs. You gave it 9
out of 10 wooden coasters.
I like it.
What is this, Downton Abbey? What is this? Wooden coasters? Like you made them in your wood shop?
I love lamp.
I love lamp. I love wood coasters.
That was cool. We did that on Friday night. It was actually kind of fun to actually get out with the wife because we don't do many dates anymore because usually we have at least one of the kids at home. We don't really get babysitters. It's only really family members that watch our kids. So it was nice to actually finally get out and hang out with the wife for a few hours, just ourselves. So I did that, and then that's pretty much it, what I've done the past few days. As far as the gaming I've done, obviously Red Dead Redemption, Overwatch, yeah. And then we played Onrush last week after the podcast. And that PS Plus game, I'm not really that big of a racing fan. I don't do a lot of racing games. But this was very arcadey. It wasn't simulation by any means.
No, not at all.
No,
it's like brake, gas, steer. The end.
Yeah, there's 3 buttons. So and playing with you guys was a good time. It is definitely more of a multiplayer game rather than a single player game.
Except I do love how I think it took us like 3 or 4 races to realize that it was just us and a bunch of AI playing the game.
Yeah, we were playing.
I thought we were playing with real people, and I was like, "Who is this? Who is this Kayla and this Ted and like these weird name? Not weird name, but their names were so normal. I'm like, these should be like Bebop Skibop 74 or something,
right?
Weird.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wait, no wonder it's loading so fast. It's just Patrick and I, and then Marc came in, and we're just playing bots. But it was fine. Yeah. It was really fun. I liked it a lot too.
It sure was. Yep. But yeah, that's it for me. Ronnie, how are you?
Well, my week was actually pretty boring. Over the last 4 days, I did not work. I got a lot of stuff done at my house. I got my office rearranged in the fashion that I like it. So that was really nice. And I did watch a certain superhero movie this week.
Don't do this to me. Don't say that.
Do it, Ronnie. Do it, Ronnie. Tell us something good.
I watched The Avengers Infinity Wars.
Yeah, you did.
And I can't be that mad at you. Crap.
I'm done being mad at him. I just love it. This is the 12th time, folks. We're counting the 12th time that Ronnie has failed us, and the final time he is going to fail us in 2018. Now moving on to 2019 for us to fail us 52 more times, probably.
Yeah, we'll get to the resolutions section of this podcast later.
Yeah, where you say, no spoilers, but
so,
I have
the funny thing is,
I have a guess of what it is.
The funny thing is, got one thing.
Yeah, one thing.
So the funny thing is, some of my friends were over. There's like 4 or 5 of us. We're all trying to decide on a movie in Netflix. We're watching it. And they're like, "Oh, let's watch the Avengers movie." I'm like, "No, I haven't seen any of those. I'm not watching that." And I got
Wait, what? You haven't seen any of the Avengers movie?
I've seen like almost 0 superhero movies.
What is wrong with you, man? Come on.
I thought we covered this. if you were to ask me what's,
Yeah.
if you were to ask me what like superheroes were like Marvel
I
or
guess-
DC, like I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, that's
probably.
true. I guess I didn't realize that you had hardly watched any of them. Which ones have you watched?
I've watched that one. I've watched all the Batman movies, which Mark would probably
Well, that doesn't
be pumped
count.
about.
We're talking about MCU. Forget DC.
And then,
It totally counts, Ronnie. Just saying.
yeah, that might even be it. I've seen bits and pieces of the Iron Man movie, the first one, and none of the other ones after that. So, pretty much none of them. It's the best way to describe it, I think.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so back
So anyways,
to
I got
Netflix with your friends.
I got outvoted, and we ended up watching this movie, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Did you even understand what was happening?
They were probably upset because I was like, "All right, who's that guy?" And they're like, "Oh, that's yeah, that guy's the Hulk, or whatever." And I'm like, "Wait, who's this guy now? That guy, that's Doctor Strange." So like, I was kind of like gathering all the characters in my inventory at the beginning.
I can't imagine how confusing that was.
Yeah, no, I didn't even know. And then they're like, I was like, "Who's Steve Rogers?" They're like, "It's Captain America," and I was like, "Oh, well, why don't they just say Captain America?" It's like because his name's Steve Rogers. So every time Captain America comes into the scene, I'm like, "Oh, it's Steve Rogers."
They're like, Steve!
Steve Rogers is tearing everybody up.
Mr. Rogers' brother, Steve Rogers.
So we watched that. It was actually really good. So it actually made me want to watch like other movies like that are related to it. Other like Avengers movies and stuff. Like I haven't seen the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but like the presence of that crew in the movie, like they're hilarious. Like,
That's
they're
right
really
up your
funny.
alley. You need to watch Guardians of the Galaxy. Not even like a challenge. Not even like watch Superman and we'll all be happy. No, you need to watch Guardians of the Galaxy. That's your kind of
I think
humor.
I definitely will enjoy that one.
I can tell you, watch Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. Watch Thor Ragnarok. And watch the Ant-Man movies for sure. Those all have similar kind of comedy, and they're hilarious.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the Thor movie one time. It was just on, and I flipped it on, and I was kind of watching it in the background. And there was a lot of really funny parts in that. So I definitely think I'll have to revisit some of those because they seem pretty good, especially the Guardians of the Galaxy one because those characters cracked me up. But other than that, that's pretty much my week. I got a girl for Christmas. We put the girl together today.
I thought you said you got a girl for Christmas.
That is totally what I
I
thought
was like,
you said.
what?
I got a girl
I
for
thought you
Christmas.
had a girlfriend and you ordered a girl?
Where'd you get
I got a
that?
girl. I got a girlfriend like 1 month before Christmas, and
You
I got a
did.
grill from that girlfriend for Christmas.
Yeah. You
So we
mentioned
put-
it last week. Have you been using it? Is it good?
We literally just put it together today, so it's still sitting in the middle of my living room. So I haven't actually used it yet.
You set it up in your living room?
I mean, I could have set it up in the freezing cold outdoor tundra that is
Yeah,
Ohio,
that's-
but I chose to do it in the house, and I could just wheel it out on the back porch.
Yeah, that's probably true. Good call. Sorry, my
See that?
perspective's a little skewed because it's today it was, I think, 92 degrees.
Oh my
Like I
gosh.
still would have put it together inside.
Yeah, no, that's true.
92 degrees.
No, our garage has we have a covered garage, so you could have done it kind of outside. But anyways,
Yeah, so we put that together. I got a wall mount for my new TV. We mounted that with the sound bar this weekend, so that looks really nice. I just need to find a nice little TV stand to go in there, kind of hold basically my cable box, my Xbox and other things.
your boxes.
But other than that, my week was pretty boring. I'll pass it off to you.
Your 4
Mr.
days
Lucas.
was boring. All right, well, my 4 days was not that much more exciting. Most of my family's been trying to get sick, so my daughter and son have been blowing their nose like Aquaman from his blowhole.
So they're
And
trying to get sick? What are they doing to get sick?
They're like licking the floor. They see random cats in the street, and they're like,
Nosing through the garbage.
yeah, nosing through the garbage. Come on, you've heard that phrase before, like, oh, I think I'm trying to get sick. Like you don't want to get sick, obviously, but your body just continues to get sick no matter what you do. Is that not a phrase that people
No,
say?
I've never heard that phrase before.
I don't actively
Never
try
heard
to
of it
use
either.
that. No.
All right, maybe that's a West Virginia phrase, apparently. But anywho,
You don't
my-
say like I feel like I'm getting sick. You say I'm trying to get sick.
Oh man, I'm trying to get sick. I don't know. Maybe I made it up someday, a few years ago. I don't know. I thought it was a phrase. I'm gonna have to Google that. I'll look it up, see if it's fake news. It might just be crazy stuff out of my head. I wouldn't be surprised. But my family's not been doing too well the past 4 days. My wife got a major migraine like 2 days ago. And my father-in-law also got sick. He wasn't trying to get sick. He did get sick. And he was like, when you get sick and you get that deep voice that's super Shaft like, hey, how's it going? That's how he got. So, besides that, I started phase 2 of the MCU challenge, in-game preparations, which, Ronnie, I would recommend that you jump into that. Pretty much all the movies are on, as you know, on Netflix, so it doesn't get easier than that. You don't have to put a disc in a machine. You just click on Netflix and start watching. And I think you'd really enjoy
Superman's on Netflix?
Forget Superman. Let's just keep going with the... Just keep going with the don't watch the
Superman. Forget you, Lucas.
How
don't even say that.
Dare you, sir?
Forget
How
DC. You need to move over to Marvel. They're much more interesting at this point.
You?
No, how dare you, sir?
I'm way more interested in Marvel stuff at this point.
No doubt. I'm with you, Ronnie. But all I watched was Iron Man 3, and I don't really have much to say about it. I still like it. I know for a lot of people, Iron Man 3 is, for some people, the weakest. That a lot of people don't like how they treated the Mandarin character, villain, and all that. But I really enjoy Iron Man 3, so that's all I watched for Phase 2. So I'll be watching some other ones after that. Of course, going into the next one is Thor: The Dark World, which I think is maybe one of the worst in the MCU movies.
It definitely is. It's forgettable.
But I remember actually enjoying some parts of it, so we'll see. I think I've only watched it once, though. I thought I really liked, Incredible Hulk, and after I watched it for a second or third time, I did not like it. But other than that, on the gaming front, all I've been doing is playing Lego Lord of the Rings with my kids, and it's been really fun, for sure.
Nice. So is that the whole, trilogy, including The Hobbit, or is it just the...
No, it doesn't include The Hobbit. It only includes... It's pretty much the 3 films, and what they do with... Like they do with many of the Lego movies that they turn in... No, many of the movies they turn into Lego games, they take the spoken audio in the movies, and then they insert it into the game, and they kind of build the game around the voice audio and story. So pretty much everything that's spoken in the game is from the movie. And then they just make the game, and the levels are based on, the different things happening. Like in Fellowship of the Ring, there's like a 5-minute scene where Frodo is trying to get from Boromir because he wants to take the ring. Well, in the Lego games, that's actually a level where you're invisible and you're trying to sneak through the woods and avoid Boromir. And so you have to break structures and build stuff to get around them. You throw bananas at them, and it's really childish and funny.
Nice.
But I've been reminded yet again that my kids are still not to the point where they're gamers per se, where they've really gotten kind of a level of patience and a level of dexterity. They're 8 and 6 years old. My daughter is definitely the fighter of the two. Whenever the enemies come around, my son practically throws the controller at me and is like, "Here, you fight them. I can't fight them, Dad. I'm scared." And I mean, honestly, these are little Lego characters running around, so it's not that scary, but he just gets stressed out. So he gives me the controller when it comes to fighting, and then my daughter, she cannot platform for anything, and so she gives the controller to my son, who's really good at jumping from platform to platform and all those things. So with their powers combined, they can get things accomplished, but when it's just one of them, and they're just I'm like, jump. No, jump now. No, stop. Give me the controller right now. It just gets kind of okay, my patience runs thin because I just am this isn't that hard. Come on. But I do have to stop myself sometimes, be just breathe, just let them play. I don't know if you've had this experience, Patrick, but you really you don't realize where you've come from until you watch your kids trying to figure things out. Have you had that experience watching them play games?
Oh, for sure, because my daughter, she's not a gamer by any stretch of the imagination. So when she plays, she's like, "I don't know how to do this." I'm like, "You can figure it out." I actually sit back. I don't get frustrated because I remember when I was little, just trying to figure out the controllers. Plus, I mean, when we were little, the controllers were 2 buttons or 1 button if you were doing the Atari.
It was much simpler.
You had that very small controller. But now you have the PS4, the Xbox One controllers, and they're you have 15 buttons on it, kind of thing. So I did buy one of the smaller PS4 controllers that are for smaller hands. It kind of looks like a like it's about the size of the original NES controller, but it's got all the buttons on it. And it's got the dual arrow
really?
and everything. So
I haven't seen that. That's cool.
Because when I started playing that monster truck game with my son, he was having trouble holding the PS4 controller. So I went ahead and got onto Amazon and got one of the smaller controllers for him to play. And it's way better. They're able to use their fingers and thumbs way easier now that you don't have to because when they're small hands, they have to wrap around the controller to get to the R1 or R2. So but I sit back and I just smile because I'm like, yeah, they're figuring it out. I don't want them to hand the controller over to me. I want them to figure it out themselves. But if they're going to get frustrated, I don't want them to get frustrated. But if they're just playing and dying and they're having fun, then I don't care.
Yeah, well, that's good. I think I definitely have to train some more in that realm because I find sometimes, depending on the game, I can get a little frustrated with them. I'm just like, why don't you just give me the controller? Sometimes I'm really good, and I'm like, okay, look, they try one time, and my daughter especially, she's like, I can't jump. I can't do it. I'm like, it's okay. Just try again. This is how you get better. You practice. You go.
Yeah, for sure.
And so most of the time I'm like that, but there are some times where I'm like, oh, okay, give me the controller. Let's move to the next part. I remember one time when we were playing the Star Wars Lego games, my son went on like a 5-minute repetitive streak of just making R2-D2 go over the edge of a platform. And so he would just go off the edge and be like, and then he'd just do that over and over. It was so funny, and we just were laughing. And then eventually, I'm like,
he doesn't need to beat the level. He just wants to do that.
No, exactly. I mean, at that time, I think he was like 4 years old, and so I laughed. And then after a couple minutes, I'm like, okay, give me the controller. We can't do this all day. As funny as it is, come on. So I definitely think that in 2019, I need to work on my patience. Maybe I'll make a resolution to improve my patience. And maybe we should all make resolutions. And it's a good thing because that is the topic of our show, 2019 and resolutions. All right, my brothers and sisters, we are getting into our topic of the new year. I am now actually officially 24 hours away from celebrating the new year. It is just 5 minutes after midnight here in Brazil. It is now officially December 31st. And so tonight, appropriately, we are talking about a little bit of 2018 in review, but we are then going to be looking forward into 2019. We're going to be making some resolutions for ourselves personally. We're going to be making some predictions about our lives and also about the show in 2019. So with that, let's jump right in. But before we get into 2019, let's have a little time of reflecting, thinking about 2018. I really want you guys, this is something that I've always liked to do. I like to give numbers and ratings to things. So today, to kind of start our resolution discussion, I want you guys to rate your 2018 based on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 being covered in unicorn anal dust, and 10 being the day that Ronnie watches Superman and Marc gets his Tartarus bookshelf. Okay? So how would you rate this past year? Feel free to give brief commentary as to why, and those kind of things. And we're going to start with Patrick. So, Patrick, your 2018, scale of 1 to 10.
On a scale of 1 to 10, in 2018 was a good year. I really have no complaints about it. I don't think anything terrible has happened to me or my immediate family or my extended family. 2018 overall in my life, I would rate it was a 10 out of 10 for sure.
10 out of 10. Wow.
For sure. It was a good one. It was a good year.
You're setting the bar high. Going out with a 10. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. I mean, like both my kids, my wife, me. Like I still have my job even after that layoff. So I mean, like I have a lot of things I can be thankful for sure. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for sure.
Awesome, dude. How about you, Mark?
I would have to say probably an 8.5 out of 10, if that's okay. To do
Okay.
0.5.
Dude, it's your year. You can
Yeah.
give it any number you want, and it is acceptable.
8.5 wooden coasters.
8.5 wooden coasters out of 10. Why would you give it
Yeah.
8.5?
It wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is the absolute best year of my life kind of thing, so that's why I wouldn't go full 10. But it was still a really good year. And I don't know if am I allowed to elaborate at the moment, or
Sure. Yeah.
should
go
I
ahead,
hold
man.
off? Okay.
You have
Basically, like
2 minutes. 2 minutes to
Okay.
elaborate. Go. I'm just
So
kidding.
I know
Go ahead, buddy.
earlier.
Share with us.
I know earlier you had mentioned about like summarizing 2018 in like 3 words.
Whoa, spoilers.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know if that was coming later or not.
It is.
I'll hold off on that then. But basically, it was a good year. I mean, a lot of things happened. A lot of changes happened in my life. A change in job. I actually got a new car this year. That was nice. My wife got a new job. All sorts of different changes and transitions that happened in my life this year.
Right.
And all of them are for the better. And so it was just overall, it was a good year. So
Cool. Ronnie, how about you, buddy? Give us a number.
I would say 7, and there's two parts to that. So I think I shared that earlier this year. Well, let's put it this way: I started 2018 married and ended 2018 not married. So a lot goes into that. If I were to rate the first 6 months of 2018, I would probably say like a 5, because it was not it definitely was not the happiest time in my life, but also a building block to the current. And then if I were to rate the last 6 months of 2018, I would probably say somewhere around an 8 or a 9, because I've had a lot of fun, and sometimes you have to get the the bad out of the way to get to the good. So for me, I would say a 7 on the year overall. The year started down in not a great place, and it slowly and gradually got to the present, where I'm very happy. I'm doing pretty much whatever I want to do, making myself happy. So I would say a 7 for me.
Okay. That's still good. 7 is not, a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think the point of, giving it a number is just to really make you think about it. And I think that's I don't know. I just think personally, like hearing how your first half of year was a 5 and then the back half was an 8 or 9, like it shows progress and you're on the uphill climb. And
Yep.
I think that's cool and great to hear. But for me personally, I'll be honest, when I originally was thinking about giving a number, and I wanted to start with a 6.5. Like I kind of started low, but as I started thinking about like kind of what Patrick mentioned at the beginning, like his nothing majorly bad happening, how his family's healthy, everything you guys kind of mentioned, like those resonated with me, and so I would have to settle on a 7.8. I think is going to be my number. And I think the major reason for that is just because the year has just been, and again, as Marc alluded to, this is going to get into my, giving 3 words to describe my year. But it's just been something that, the first 6 months of the year I lived with pretty much adopted grandparents, like my family and I did. So we lived with parents, even though they're not our parents. We spent the first half of the year living with other people, and I don't know, for those, if you guys or people who are listening to the show have ever done this, where you've lived out on your own and then you've come back and then you live with your parents or live with other people, it can be difficult. And I would say that this older couple that really helped us out, and they were a true blessing. They were easy to live with, but we were still cornered into a part of the house, and just all the things that go around with living with roommates and other people. it was difficult at times. And this is actually in the past 7 years. This is the third set of parents that I've lived with. Before we moved to Brazil, we lived with my parents for 6 months. And then for almost 3 years, we lived with Mindy's parents while living in Brazil at the beginning. And then the first half of this year, we lived with a couple that are related to us through multiple layers of marriage and different people. But I think that just the turmoil of the year kind of made it more difficult. And then the second half of the year, moving into top 5, one of the biggest cities in the world, and just I've never lived in a city this large, and just getting around and dealing with the traffic and dealing with, the city mentality of how something that's, 2 or 3 miles away can take you forever to get to, and it's just overall a different mindset. And I would just say the circumstances surrounding that has made it difficult. I have difficulty working from home, which is what I've been doing the entire year. I'm living in terms of ministry and my career. I'm living the dream. Like, I'm a coordinator of missions and I'm a pastor, and I'm doing things that I love to do. But I'm easily distracted, and so I'm sometimes not as productive from home. And we don't have a second car, so I have to rely a lot on public transportation. And so just like the ups and downs and the turmoil of the year have kind of brought it down. But overall, like, my wife has a great job that she loves to do. She's healthy. My kids are healthy. We're little by little building friendships in the city and getting to know new people. And we're connected with people and the church that we're a part of, both in Brazil and in the U.S. And so it's moving up, but I would say right now it's a 7.8 overall. So that would be my rating.
Nice.
With that, as Marc shared, let's get into the second question I had for 2018. In 3 words, how would you describe your year? It can be 3 separate words that describe the year. It can be a 3-word sentence, whatever 3 words you want to use. And I actually got this question from an article I found on the internet where there were 50 different questions to reflect on the year. And actually today I wrote down answers to all 50 of those questions during the afternoon. And it was really cool to just have a time of reflection to think about this past year. And hopefully you guys had enough time to think about this. So let's start with Marc, since he brought it up earlier. Marc, what are your 3 words to describe 2018 for you?
I would say...
That's a weird 3.
Oh, man.
Could have sworn he said Marc, not Ronnie, but
Oh, hey.
Love you, Ronnie.
Weird choice, though.
No, the three words I would pick would probably be healthier, change, and progress. And the reason I would pick those 3 words is because switching jobs. I mean, a lot of you know that I, and some of you may not know that I deal with germophobic OCD. It's something I've dealt with for quite a few years now, and I've recently, within the past year or so, started taking medication for it, and it's hard to have that and be a janitor. So it was kind of important for me to get out of the job I was in. And so that was one of the big changes in my life was, working that job for over 8 years, and then finally stepping away from it and getting into something else, was a big change for me.
Yeah.
And also it was healthier for me because I needed to get out of that environment to really push my health back to where it should be. And from taking the medication, life has become a lot more manageable for me than what it used to be. And so that's where progress comes in, to the point where, my life, a lot of things in my life, would take so much time out of my day because of the issues that I dealt with. And that has become more manageable. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of changes happened in my life. I got rid of my old car, which had a lot of history attached to it, a lot of memories, and got a new car, so I can make new memories with that. My wife got a new job, which she's a lot happier with. I've had other family that have gotten new jobs, so it's just been a real time of transition and change in all our lives this year. So those are the words that I would pick to most describe this year.
Yeah,
so,
Mark,
and then of course getting. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say I'm so glad that you had that change from your old job to your new job, because I remember
for sure.
you just like dreading going to work, just hating work, and not really, it was just something that you had to do to make a living. But I could, earlier in the year, you reached out to us, and and especially Lucas as well, saying
Yep.
you were having a rough time. Definitely, one of the roughest patches I've seen from you, and for you to finally get away from that and to get a new job and still able to make a living. I was really happy that you were able to finally make that decision and quit your old job and go on to something new.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I didn't go the way I wanted it to, but God worked it out, so it's all good. Yeah, that's pretty much my summary of 2018.
Cool.
Lucas.
Yeah.
What are your 3 words, sir?
My 3 words. My 3 words is EB. Golly. Sorry, I just messed up the word easy. Said EB. Okay. It's as easy as ABC. A for adventure. B for bold behavior. I doubled up on a phrase there. And connections. Those are the 3 words that I used to describe 2018. Adventure, because, man, between living with adopted parents in Achibaya, in this quaint little community, close community that was just tranquil and had a lake and trees and nature all around, to then jump into a concrete jungle of Sao Paulo and just live in the biggest city in Brazil and Western Hemisphere. And it's just been an adventure, and it's really exciting to do this with my wife and my kids. And for all 4 of us, it is every day we're seeing something new, doing something different, talking about different things, whether in English and Portuguese. It's been crazy. And then bold behavior, because this year one of the things that I decided to do, because I really felt compelled to do so by God and in my heart, was to become a volunteer missionary. Again, when I originally came to Brazil in 2012, 6 years ago, I decided to be a volunteer missionary then, and then I started teaching English and doing other things. And this year I've just felt led to be a volunteer missionary again. So I've been jumping back into that and just kind of been relying on God, relying on generosity of others and those that want to partner with me in ministry, and then finally connections. And I've realized this year that making connections with others, like whether it's it's because of my faith, whether it's because of friendship, whether it's through this podcast, like I look at everything all the decisions I'm making, all the things that I'm doing, and all of them revolve around the idea of making connection, of connecting with others. And I feel like that with having that attitude and that mindset, everything makes sense and everything fits. So the ministry that I'm a part of, the missions, programs and mission trips that I'm coordinating, they're all about making connections between the church and communities, between people with resources, people without resources. Doing this podcast with you guys is so fun and so fulfilling, and every week, we have lots of laughs and talk about different things, but the biggest thing that we're accomplishing, just a couple laughs, that's right. The biggest thing that we accomplish through this is connecting with other people and giving them an opportunity to kind of enter into our lives. And then during the week when they connect with us, we get to enter into their lives. We're talking with people from Scotland, talking with people all over the U.S., all over the world. And it's a great opportunity. And so those are the three words that I would use to describe 2018 for me. How about you, Ronnie?
Yeah, mine were actually there are so many words I could use to describe 2018, and the ones I decided to go with are a little more direct. So it's down, up, and great. And it really just basically explains my year from start to finish. Things at the beginning of the year down, they started to come up, somewhere mid-year, and things now are they're great. So connections would have been a big one for me too. This year I've made, more new friends than I think I had probably in the past 15 years. I met you guys, so
yeah.
So we started this whole journey. So connections is a good one, but I would say down, up, and good to accurately explain my year.
Nice.
Sweet deal.
Patrick?
Well, yeah, for me, I was having a tough time to nail down just 3 words to describe my 2018. So I went with more of a phrase, and the phrase really encompasses what 2018 was to me and how it has changed me, only for the better. And my 3 words are good morning, guys. Now, the reason why it is good morning, guys, is because, back in January of this year, Marc and I started to play PUBG. We were started to play online together, and that's how we really connected. We've been part of the Married to the Games community for so long, and we really never connected on any level other than through just asking questions towards a podcast or answering questions or asking questions, whatever it was. But we really never had that personal connection. So we started that connection earlier this year, which led us to finally meeting in Tennessee for Married to the Games episode 300. And at that time, Lucas, you started to talk about wanting to do a podcast. And yep. Ronnie and I have been talking about wanting to do a podcast for, a couple of years now. When we started to get together and try to figure out what we wanted to do, how we wanted to do our podcast, Lucas, I didn't really know you very much. So I kind of learned, who you were, on a personal level. And I knew Ronnie, as a friend, but this podcast has really brought us closer to on a personal level as well. And through this podcast, I've learned a lot of things. Lucas, you have challenged me in more ways than one, through faith and so forth. Marc, you've given me a new outlook on what it is to be happy. You made a huge decision of quitting your job and taking a leap of faith, which is absolutely insane. And Ronnie, what you've done to me for in 2018, we've done a lot of things together. But yeah, all 3 of you have changed me only for the better. It's been so great to actually go through this journey of immortalizing ourselves in a podcast. This stuff is going to be out there forever, in a sense, as long as the internet's around. And through this podcast, I've always done Microsoft Paint and Microsoft Word. I've done PowerPoint and Adobe Photoshop, and through this podcast, as I'm doing the weekly graphics and other graphics for other podcasts and so forth, and Extra Life, I have found that that's something that I really enjoy. Yes, I have a job that I'm able to make enough money for my wife to stay home and everything. It's a job. I do enjoy my job, but I feel like my passion is somewhere else, and I feel like this podcast is kind of pushing me towards something else. Whatever that is. What's that?
Yeah, like a springboard.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know what the future holds, but 2018 has really been a very big impact on who I am and who I want to be. And yeah, so good morning, guys, would be my 3 words.
Well,
This
awesome.
dude over here is about to make me cry. What the heck?
I'm not crying. You're crying.
And I'm leaking.
My eyes
I'm
are
glad you
sweating.
went last and none of us had to follow that one
I
up.
know, right? That would be the worst.
We buried
Like,
everybody at the end.
So my 3 words are also good morning, guys. We're brothers.
My 3 words are I love Patrick.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome, dude. I'm really glad to hear that.
That is good.
And did you guys, keeping just a little bit more with 2018, did you guys make any 2018 resolutions? I didn't, so I won't have very much to say. But before we make 2019 resolutions, how much success did you guys have in any resolutions or whatever in 2018?
I'm with you, Lucas. I did not make any.
Yeah, I typically don't make any resolutions. I actually heard today there was a guy preaching at our church, and he mentioned that typically by January 12th, I want to say it was like 80% of people who make resolutions fail on those resolutions.
It's a really high number. It's very true.
Yeah. So I typically tend to not make any resolutions. You know, if I have any goals, they're, pretty short-term goals.
Right.
So.
I feel like there's one person that made resolutions. Who could that be?
Was that me? Am I the only one that made a resolution?
Oh, hey, Patrick. There you are. Patrick, tell us about your resolutions.
Made one resolution, and it was gaming related. And
Nice.
my resolution was to play online multiplayer with the Married to the Games community. That was my only resolution. And that's why I started playing PUBG with Marc. It was my personal resolution to start making those connections with others that are out there that have like-minded interests and things like that. So yeah, I wanted to play more multiplayer games. I didn't know what that meant, other than just, I did not have any expectations for this. I just knew that I wanted to play, because through my gaming history, I gravitated more towards single player games. I played a lot of single player games. I played the story, and then I would move on to the next game, play that story, move on to the next game. And I rarely ever played online. So this was going to be very difficult for me to actually get online and start talking to people, because that's not who I was, as far as gaming is concerned. So I started playing with Marc, and as we played how long? We played 6 months in a row. 3, 4, 5 nights a week. We would play PUBG. Yep. And then back in May of this year, I had reached out to another community member. I was like, hey, I was thinking about playing Overwatch. Overwatch has been out for 2 years. Everyone's apparently is playing Overwatch. Maybe I should jump into Overwatch and start playing there. And then I started playing that, and this is 7 months later. I'm still playing it on a weekly basis. That
game is huge in the
What's,
MTTG community. That game is huge. Like, there's so many guys.
It is, and there's more and more people are jumping in because of how much fun it is. Not only the game, but just hanging out with people and talking with people as we're playing. So I did that in May, and then that pretty much that multiplayer. When I wanted to do a podcast with Ronnie, I had no idea that I wanted Marc to be a part of it. And that was just because I was playing multiplayer games with him, and I became a little bit closer with him on a personal level. Mm-hmm. And then when you said you wanted to do a podcast, I was like, yes, that's the 4th person that wants to do a podcast. I want to do a 4-person podcast. And then we started talking to each other, and we found out that, what we wanted the podcast to be and so forth. And just saying I wanted to play more multiplayer games or just do it in general led us to doing this podcast, which is absolutely insane. how that worked. And then along the same lines of that, I started to stream online, and I had never streamed before, prior to November 1st when I did the 24-hour extra live stream. I had only streamed once before, and I found that playing online with others and chatting with the community and people who want to watch me play and hang out and chat, I found out that I really like that as well. So I just started doing that more and ended up pretty. I don't know how fast I did it or if it's normal, but within a month and a half later, I had more than 50 people following me on Twitch, which allowed me to get to that Twitch affiliate status.
Twitch affiliate,
which is crazy. And it all stems back from me wanting to play more multiplayer games. I think that resolution, I think I nailed it. I think I really nailed it.
Yeah, you really did. I think you.
And I'd like to add one thing to that too, Patrick. So because you made that resolution to start playing games online. So when 2018 started, I did not plan on getting divorced or living with my mother for like 2 months. So I moved out, moved into my mother's for a couple months while everything was, getting taken care of. And I sat there the first couple of nights with them, and I love my mom and stepdad, but man, sitting there out in their living room, hearing them bicker back and forth a little bit, I'm like, oh, this is bad. I got to do something. So I was like, I'm going to go out and buy a new Xbox. I'm going to go out and buy one. I hadn't bought an Xbox One yet prior to this year. And I bought it, with the specific purpose of playing PUBG with Patrick and these guys. And I got on, and basically for that 2-month stretch, and even once I moved back into my own house, a few months after that, it became something that occupied my time. Because it's a weird thing for somebody to go, be with a person for 13 years and then all of a sudden you're with nobody. It's a weird thing. It's kind of like a lonely thing at first.
Yeah.
And you don't really know what to do with yourself. And because Patrick basically made that resolution to play online, I was able then to play online with Patrick, meet Marc, get to know Marc. And it didn't just affect you. It affected a lot of people. So
for sure, man. Definitely.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Well, definitely proof that resolutions are nothing to sneeze at, nothing to scoff at. I know that I kind of gave up on resolutions last year, and my wife's never really been a big fan of resolutions because she's like, why set yourself up to fail? And I think that, Patrick's simple little resolution of I'm going to play multiplayer games with, he mentioned just the MTTG community, which then washed over into, multiplaying with. Can you say that? Multiplaying? Doing multiplayer games.
You just did.
I just did multiplaying. Playing multiplayer games with Ronnie, who's not a part of the Married to the Games community. So that's really cool. And you know what? I want you to know, Patrick, that you are not alone, because VP Barnaby Butters, our very own from the Discord, he also wanted to share his 2018 resolution because he also made one. He said, my goal was to spend less money, which I did. Still broke, now swimming out of debt. Healthcare is expensive here. My goal next year in 2019 is to cut more expenses while keeping my gaming healthy as well as my wife happy. Also losing weight and overall making myself better physically, mentally, and spiritually. I'm sure you guys will be discussing goals, but my question is, what is the weirdest, most craziest goal you have ever had or heard of? Once, I had a friend whose goal was not getting expelled from college while attending the minimum amount of classes and still graduating. Way to set that bar high.
That is
I'm going to do as little as possible without flunking out of school. Go. Yeah, that's a pretty crazy goal there, Barnaby. What about you guys?
Pretty low goal. Yeah, you know what? What's your goal this year? To not get expelled from college. Yes.
You know what? You know what's funny is when I was teaching at the school in Achibaya, where I was an English teacher a couple years, these past few years, I would ask at the beginning of the year, what is your goal for the school year? And they would say to not fail. And I'm like, seriously? That's your goal? I don't want to get an F. I don't want to fail out of school. And these were smart kids. These were kids that were in the honors classes and were getting what we would say straight A's, a straight A student. And these kids are just like, my goal is to not fail. I'm like, that's not helpful to anyone. Definitely not you. So what are some crazy goals that you've made for yourselves or you've heard other people make?
I have one that a friend made. My friend Chad, he decided that for a whole year he was not going to eat sweets.
Wow.
So that includes like cookies, brownies, like candy, all of that stuff, all under that umbrella of not eating sweets. And I am proud to say he has not done it yet. So we're actually going to have a little bit of a gathering for New Year's Eve, and we're going to make some brownies right around midnight.
Nice.
Some like
so he's
fudge
gone
brownies for him.
He's gone a whole year without dessert, sweets, candy.
You need to be really
Yes.
careful with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because
He's gone a whole year without eating any of that.
Wow.
his body is about to go through a shock.
Yeah, hopefully he's read up on how to deal with shock. Or
I'm gonna run to the bathroom after one
eating
bite.
shock. Yeah. Or he's just going to take a bite and be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I want it all. And he just starts shoving the brownies, double fisting brownies into his mouth. That's crazy.
So I thought that one was pretty crazy. Maybe not as crazy as the not getting expelled from college while taking the minimal courses, but
Well,
yeah.
I think the one Barnaby Butters brought up was like dumb crazy. Like seriously, that's the best you got. What your friend did, I think that's a pretty crazy thing to do, to not eat any sweets at all.
And to be able to do that,
definitely a lot of self-control.
that is-
Absolutely.
that is an accomplishment, and that can change your life.
Yep.
For real. I mean, like, is he going to continue that into 2019?
He is
Or is
not.
he? Okay.
I know one thing along the way. I believe he stopped drinking like all like pop or soda. Like he stopped drinking all of that, and he still pretty much doesn't do that. He said he won't go back to drinking that, but he is. He will probably eat sweets. I mean, he definitely will. Like on New Year's Day.
I wonder how that's going to affect his body going back to sweets.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Do you know if he's like had any significant weight loss or any, I don't know, health benefits that have kind of manifested during the last year?
I don't know about any benefits, although he's a pretty thin, like in shape guy anyway, so he's not the kind of guy you think would make that.
Yeah.
Generally feeling better, I believe that would be. I think he generally would feel like he feels better because of that, but he did not do it as like a weight loss or anything like that.
Huh. I'll be interested to hear if he even likes sweets after not having them for a year. I'm sure there'll be some things that he'll be happy to get back to, but like I've heard of people that, people drink coffee and tea with sugar and all that stuff, and I've talked to people that have given it up for a time and then they went back to it and they didn't like how it tasted, so they just stopped using sugar in coffee or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Anybody else?
That
Got a
is
crazy
crazy.
thing?
I can't think of anything off the top of my
Yeah, I
head.
really can't.
Yeah.
Well, I could probably spend a whole podcast of crazy goals that I have set for myself. Now, I mentioned that I didn't do resolutions for 2018, but in the past, I've done resolutions most of my life, like whether it's health related, like working out, diet related, like not like eating better or doing those things. I know I've many years done resolutions on reading, like reading the Bible or prayer or whether I can't think of any specific that I've done for resolutions, but there's another event that happens every year called Lent, and it's the 40 days leading up to Easter. And every year I do something like it's a fasting holiday where you take away something in your life and you replace it with a God, whether it's in the form of instead of eating sweets, you spend time reading the Bible or praying. Those kind of things. So I did one year. I took a week and I fasted or resisted not the temptation, but I stopped talking. Like I didn't talk for a whole week. And
Wow.
the only way I communicated with people was with a little notepad that I had, and I would write down questions, answers, if people needed something. And I did this in public. I did it at work. At that time, I was a youth pastor, and so my devotional during youth group, it was crazy. Like it was super crazy. And during that time, what was crazy about it was you really find out who's really interested in talking with you and who's not, Because for some people, as soon as they found out I wasn't going to be talking and I started writing something down, they're like, you know what? Forget it. I'll ask someone else or I'll go somewhere else. It was interesting who didn't really care to talk to me and who was wanting to talk with me. Like I went to a board meeting at the church that I was working at the time, and I couldn't talk. So I would write down what I wanted to say, and I would have my friend in the board meeting read what I had to say. Like I dedicated a whole week to not talking, and I really got a picture.
That's crazy.
I got a picture.
I kind of want to do that.
Yeah. It's really I really got a good perspective on what God kind of goes through, like how he's kind of chosen to not.
For sure.
It was very eye opening, and I remember thinking, man, God, you got it rough. Like I don't know how God chooses to speak in very subtle ways and in different ways. You know how he doesn't talk to us directly, and so trying to get your point across and having to write it down can be really difficult. And it was pretty cool. And I've done food fast. Like there was one time I didn't eat for, I think it was 10 days. I didn't eat. I did a liquid fast where I only drank, and I almost made myself sick after the 10 days. I got really hungry. Like once I realized I was done with the fast, I got just a big bowl of rice, and this was really stupid. And I got a big bowl of rice and just started shoving it into I was like, oh, I'm so hungry right now, and I made myself a little sick. But I've done a lot of quite a few different crazy.
So
goals,
hold on a second. You fasted for 10 days, and the first thing you wanted to eat was rice?
It wasn't like what am I hungry for? Oh, I want rice. It was where I was at the time, or I was a single guy, and so I didn't have many groceries, and it was literally the only thing I had to eat. So I was just once I realized I was done fasting, and I was like, I'm ready to eat. I looked in the fridge, and it was like, well, there's some rice. I don't know how old this rice is, but I'm hungry, so I just started eating this rice. I didn't put anything on it or anything. It was just a bowl of rice. It was awful. It was really the worst way to.
Man, you should go on that show Survivor. That's all they do.
Yeah.
Starve and eat rice.
They just starve themselves and eat a grain of rice every day.
Yeah.
But yeah. So this year, let's find out how crazy we're going to be. We're going to get into our resolution time for 2019. And also we're going to be making some predictions a little later about the show. But I want you to know that we're going to be recording audio for your resolutions for 2019. And I'm also going to be keeping track of what you say so that when we arrive at the end of 2019, we're going to see who was successful with their resolutions and who was not. And we're going to be keeping score.
Ooh.
So make sure your resolution is something that can be measured at least a little bit.
Okay.
We're not going to split hairs, but for the most part, it definitely needs to be something that you can measure. I think that's always a good thing to do when you make a resolution. It has to be measurable. It can't just be like, I want to get healthier. I think, Patrick, your resolution from last year, while maybe appeared to be vague, I don't think it wasn't. Playing multiplayer with people, I think you did it often, and so that was good. But I think the more specific you can be with a resolution or with a goal that you have, the better. So who wants to start? I don't have a list of, who wants to start, but if we have volunteers, or I can go.
I can go ahead and take it.
All right. So you're going to start with your serious or your fun resolution. We're going to do two for those that don't know. So whatever you start with, Mark, I think we should all do the same one or the same style of resolution.
I'm going to do the serious one first.
All right. We're starting with the serious.
So I have never done this before, and I really want to, develop my quiet time with God. So I think one way that I can do that, and you always hear people talking about doing this, I'm going to read the Bible in a year.
All right.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. It's nice because, the Bible app on my phone, you can actually do 1 year reading plans where you can read the entire Bible in a year. So I can go ahead and do that because I really want to work on my quiet time, and I think that's one way to do that.
So are you going to go through, page 1 through last page, or you do it chronological? How are you going to do it?
Well, like I said, there's reading plans that the Bible app has, so
Yeah.
It probably is like one portion from the Old Testament, one portion from the New Testament, one portion from the Psalms or whatever.
Yep. That's in my experience, that's the best way to do it. I've tried to do this from page 1 to 1,000, whatever, how many pages. Every Bible's different, and that's a really hard way to do it because you spend 10 months out of the year in the Old Testament when you do it that way. It is ridiculously hard, and you just get the New Testament, like the best part of the story. You get the last 2 months of the year, so it's really good to do a Bible plan that gives you a little bit of old, a little bit of new, Psalms, Proverbs. That's a good choice. So, and like you said, those Bible apps make it so easy. You just check it off, and you're good to go. So awesome, man. That's definitely a measurable resolution. So reading the Bible in a year, awesome.
Faux show.
I've done that once, and I actually did it. I think the second year I was in Brazil, I did the Bible in a year. And so you have my support, brother, and I empathize.
I also
with
did
you.
that back in 2007. I read the Bible in a year. And the way I did it is I did it chronological. Found a plan and did it chronological. And it was cool to go from, book to book and to find out, what happened when and things like that. But like you said, it was tough being in the Old Testament for so long.
Forever, yeah.
Yeah, it was tough. So I wouldn't recommend doing the chronological one again.
I've always wanted to read that. I started that with my wife, Mindy, when I think our second year of marriage, we started to read through the Bible chronologically. And I think we got to, Chronicles, like after you read through Kings and then you do Chronicles, which is like the same story but in a different perspective, and we kind of lost the trail there. But that chronological Bible is really cool, reading it in that order. So, Patrick, how about you, buddy? What's your serious resolution for 2019? Let's hear it.
So like I alluded to it a little bit ago when I found out that I really enjoy like graphic design kind of work because right now I'm learning as I go, kind of teaching myself how different programs are used and how to improve a picture or a graphic or add graphics and things like that. So what I'm going to do in 2019 is I'm going to take at least one class or webinar or read something that will help me in doing any graphic design. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know what is out there, what is free, what is not, and if it's online or a class or YouTube or I don't know what it's going to look like. But I know that I want to learn more about that because right now, like I said, I'm learning just by trial and error. I'm not using any tools, any like user guides or graphic design for dummies kind of thing. I haven't done any of that. I've just been going through the programs that I have and messing around with them. So some of the things that I'm doing is probably a long-winded way to do something. There's probably way easier ways to do what I'm doing. So I want to learn that and hone my skill there and see where that takes me.
Cool.
Yeah, and didn't you say to your buddy
Nice.
Chris? For those of you who don't know Chris, the guy that did the hot sauce challenge with Patrick, he's also a graphic designer. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes.
Probably a good resource there. Yeah.
No
For
doubt.
sure. Yeah.
Sweet.
So for me, it was mine is not necessarily, I guess, something that is measurable when you look at it that way. Since my year was a little odd, up and down. As a New Year's resolution for myself, I am going to continue to do what makes me happy. So
Okay.
I felt like for a long time I couldn't necessarily do that, and now I'm in a position where I can. So obviously, second half of the year has been really good, really fun. Met a lot of great people. So I'm going to continue that. I want to continue to do what makes me happy and see where it goes.
All right.
So what kind of things are you want to do or you expect to do in 2019 that is going to keep you happy? Like, are you going to travel or what does that look like?
Yeah, I think I will probably do some traveling, but that'll be probably on the lower end of things that I change. This year I started doing, I guess the second half of the year I started doing things that I wouldn't normally do. Going to events that I wouldn't normally go to, going and hanging out with people that I wouldn't have done that before. And I've met a lot of really awesome people, a lot of great friends, and it's kind of led me down a path that it's just it's very exciting for me to continue to do that. So really just going outside of my comfort zone, which is probably, like sit at home and maybe play games or something like that, or have a couple people over the house, instead of just doing that most of the time. Maybe going out to, a certain event. Like we were talking about last week, like I would love to get to like a Trans-Siberian show, like something like I would not normally do.
Nice, yeah.
Like, kind of gather some experiences from this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, we can when we talk about at the end of 2019, we'll find a way to measure it and see what it looks like. But that's still a good goal, and you just keep thinking about the specific ways that you can make yourself happy and be just satisfied with who you are, who God has made you to be, and move forward from there.
Absolutely.
From there, for me, I went all in with my resolution, and so one of the things that I think is foundational to my life as a man, as a Christian, as a father, as a husband, pastor, etc., is, as Marc alluded to, a strong devotional life. That time with God. I truly believe that when you, and I think I've talked about this on one of our episodes before, but the idea is that when we love God more than others, when we love God more than the stuff we have and the things we love that we like in the world, when we love God more, we're going to love those people. We're going to appreciate those things more than if we put them before God. And so for me, like my main resolution that I really want to focus on is my devotional time. And I kind of layered mine in part because there are two things that are foundational that I found in my own life to my devotional time. And that's reading the Bible and journaling, writing things down, writing down my thoughts, my prayers, and then I also layered it because it gives me a fallback. If I fail in one, I'll still get points for being successful in the other. So with that being said, that was a joke. You can laugh. With that being said, ha, ha, ha. But the way I've gotten hardcore with this is, like I shared before, I've read the Bible in a year. And this past year, I read about 35% of the Bible in Portuguese and reading it in English. Reading in English, no, that doesn't make sense. Reading it in Portuguese, reading the New Testament, Psalms, and Proverbs. I read those this year from February to December. So I'm going to double that, and I'm going to read 70% of the Bible. I'm going to start a Read the Bible in a Year plan, but I'm not going to confine it to the year. I'm going to try to reach 70%, make it a little more realistic goal. But I'm going to read it in Portuguese, and the Bible plan I'm going to follow is on a Bible app, and with each of the readings, it has, like Marc talked about, Genesis. Not Genesis. It starts with Genesis. It has Old Testament, New Testament, Psalms, and Proverbs. But also, one thing that I think is cool, and it's going to help me, is with each day it has a devotional that connects all the scriptures together. And it's in English, so every day I'm going to be reading the Bible in Portuguese, but I'm going to have a devotional that will connect all the scriptures together in English. And so my goal is just to double my percentage from this year. So this year I read 35% of the Bible. Next year I'm going to read 70%. Cool. On top of that, I'm also going to be journaling at least 255 days out of the year. This past year I journaled 152 days out of the year. And I don't know if you guys are journalers or you write anything down, but I want to recommend that every single person try journaling. Like whether you journal your prayers, journal your thoughts, write down what you did that day. I know for me, sometimes I have trouble expressing myself sometimes, like really sharing my thoughts, my feelings, my concerns. And so journaling for me has become a cathartic practice where I allow myself to kind of pour out what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. And sometimes I don't even know what I'm thinking until I write it down and putting it on paper. So it's those two things for me that I am stepping it up this year. And I'm kind of building off of how I did this year and kind of doubling my frequency so I improve and get better. And
now, so when you say that you're going to
resolution.
journal, is that going to be in written form, or are you going to do it like digitally? Because I'm thinking like if you write it down, then it's kind of hard to like go back and look at that. If you do it and if you do it digitally, you may get like reminders like, hey, this is what I had written, 1 year ago today, kind of thing. How are you doing that?
So in the past, I've done a little bit of everything. So originally, when I first started journaling back in like my junior year of high school, I think I had notebooks, and that's probably what I've used most of the time is just paper and pen. I did have some time where I typed out my journal. I even had a time where I tried to do an audio journal where I spoke it, and that was a little weird sometimes. But not that I'm against talking to myself or talking out loud by myself, but I really like I'm kind of an analog person sometimes where I just like the feel of writing out the words.
Sure.
Like this year I had a little notebook that I filled it up completely. When I talked to you guys earlier about writing down those 50 questions to reflect on 2018, and I just wrote those questions in my journal, and I just wrote half a page, and these were smaller pages, and through those 50 questions I was able to fill up the journal. So I have a new journal now that I just bought. It's a Thor Ragnarok journal, really cool, and it has 200 pages, I think, and my goal is 255 journal entries, and so those can sometimes be half a page, sometimes a full page, and so I'm going to go analog again this year, but I might revisit next year and do a digital journal.
Okay.
But I kind of enjoy that, just that pen and paper
tactile
feel.
Yeah,
the
sure.
tactile feel. So that is my serious resolution. With that, let's transition to our fun resolutions. And so I'm just going to jump right in, and we're just going to go backwards this time, starting with me, then Ronnie, Patrick, and then Marc. My fun resolution for 2019, of course, has to do with gaming. And as I've gone through this year, I have played more games that are newer. I've purchased a few more games, of course, always on sale because my budget does not allow for me to buy a lot of new games or pay full price. But I've bought quite a few $1, $2 games throughout the year. I've just jumped all over the place. And with that in mind, I want to seriously tackle my backlog, and I'm not going to buy any new games this year. So I'm going to save money, and then also it's going to help me deal with my anxiety, because I don't know about you guys, but I know there are many people who just play whatever you want to play when you want to play it, but I can't do that all the time. Like, there are a number of games that I have just kind of left in the backlog that I've started and not done. There's still some games that I've purchased. There's some games that I purchased when I first got my PS4 in 2016, 15, 16, that I still haven't really played, that I'm like, I can't let these games sit here now. It's been 2 years. I've got to play these games.
You're not in the minority in that, because there's some games that I have sitting over here that I've gotten a year ago or so, and I still have not played them. But I am one of those guys where I'm like, I'm gonna play what I want to play, kind of thing.
Right.
And yeah, that backlog is there, but yeah, I mean, if you're getting anxiety from not playing old games,
yeah, and it's not like medication. Like I need medication
right.
anxiety. It's like I put in quotations. You can't see the quotations,
right.
but it's quotations anxiety. And it just kind of bugs me that I feel like I'm not appreciating what I have. So for 2019, I am going to dedicate myself to working on my backlog. I'm not going to buy any new games. Unless, and there's going to be a little asterisk here, unless I happen to get a PSVR when I go to the U.S. in July. Or if my friends, GMG or MTTG brothers and sisters, want to play a co-op game, then, I'll make an exception. But for myself, I'm not going to venture outside of what I have. And I have a bunch of numbers for that. Where pretty much I'm going to try to complete 35 games this year, platinum 14 games, and I'm going to also continue the Nintendo Challenge in completing about 30 games or so. So that is I know that for some people are like, how is that a fun resolution? It's gaming. It should be fun. You shouldn't make a checklist or a laundry list of things to do, but I really find a lot of satisfaction when I beat a game and I can check it off and be like, yes, I completed it after I paid for it, that kind of thing. So
yeah,
that's mine.
Yeah.
Ronnie, what is your fun resolution for 2019?
Watch Superman.
Make it happen.
Well,
So
we
that
can count
means you
that
have
one as
until
failed.
you have the next 365 days to watch Superman.
A 2-hour movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really, I want to complete Superman, and now I especially want to complete Superman because now that I've watched the Infinity War movie, the Avengers movie, I actually do want to go back and watch some of the other Marvel movies and stuff. And I feel like every time I watch one of those, I'm going to want to come on here and talk about it. And if I haven't watched Superman yet, it's just like I've thrown it to the side. And I've never actually moved it. It still sits in a very visible spot in my living room.
Of course
I haven't moved it on purpose because I don't want to just like put it in a drawer or something because I will never remember it then. So I still walk by and I'm like, man, I need to watch that.
I think a more real...
Even though it's not sitting out, we will remind you. You'll never forget it.
For the next 52 weeks, we're going to remind you. And I almost want to make a bet. And I don't want to make the bet because then you'll go against me and you'll watch it like tomorrow or January. You like watching the first week of January. But I almost want to make a bet that you're not going to watch it till the last week of 2019.
Hey, if he does it on December 31st of 2019, he has
it still counts.
Done it.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. I think a more realistic goal for you, Ronnie, is to commit to watch all the MCU movies in 2019 and then maybe Superman in 2020.
How many of those are there? Because I have thought about this.
They're 20.
There's like 20, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, you will have Avengers Endgame to watch.
And Captain Marvel.
You got
and Captain Marvel.
I bet you if you talk to your friends, I bet you could get some friends in on it. Starting out the new year, you could say, "Hey guys, I was thinking about this. If we watch 1 or 2 movies a week, leading up to Endgame, we could watch all the MCU movies and then finish it off with Endgame at the end of April." I think you would have a few
you'd be
friends
all caught
that
up
would,
because
would
this
like
is
that.
the Avengers Endgame movie. I mean, this is the culmination of every single movie that came before it.
Yeah.
So
You just find some guys. You can make it an event every Friday, every Saturday. Gather everybody at your house, have some food, drinks, watch the movie. You don't even have to pay attention half the time, though. You could just be annoying and be like, "What's his name again? What's his superpower? Does he have a blowhole?"
All right. You talked me into it. I'll do it.
Sweet.
Cool.
All right, Patrick, how about you, buddy?
So for my 2019 fun resolution, I am going to continue to stream. My goal is to triple my followers in 2019.
Okay, how many would that be?
I think I have 56
160?
right now. Yep, 56.
Okay. So we'll round it up to 60, triple that, 180. Sound good?
Okay, sure. Okay, so 180 by the end of 2019. And along with that, while I am streaming, I also want to get some platinums in 2019. I think I have maybe 14
get that
platinums or something like that. And,
double it. 28 plats in 2019.
No, I have 14 platinums in like however long the PS3's been around through now. So, but I'm going to get 12 platinums this year. I'm going to get 1 a month. That is my goal.
Nice.
Okay. Nice. Very
and I
good.
think that's
well,
achievable with...
Yeah, if you need help with some really easy, like if you get to the end of a month and you still don't have a platinum, just let me know, and I have a list of games that you can get really cheap that you can get a plat in a couple hours.
Okay.
Just
all
so
right,
you know.
cool. So I have a backup plan in case I'm crunched for time. And
have you ever heard of a game called? Have you ever heard of a game
it?
called My Name Is Mayo?
My Name is Mayo. Is that like mayonnaise?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. It's
No,
one of the
it's
worst
not
plats
about mayonnaise.
ever,
Come
but-
on.
Yeah, it's about mayonnaise. It's literally a mayonnaise jar on a screen, and you just tap the mayonnaise jar 10,000 times. And after you tap it 10,000 times with the X button on your controller, or if you want to play it on the Vita screen, you get a platinum.
Oh,
What?
my God.
It literally takes 45 minutes. I've done it on PS4 and Vita. I'm the best.
So hold on a second. So you can get it. You got 2 platinums from My Name is Mayo.
Yeah, one on Vita, one on PS4.
How does a game get a platinum trophy for just tapping the X button for 45 minutes?
It's ridiculous. I don't know. I don't know who makes the rules on platinum trophies.
I'm trying to
but
get this Red Dead Platinum. I think it's going to take 45 years.
That is correct. You're going to get to like June of 2019 and be on the last trophy of Red Dead, and you're like, finally, 1. Now I have 11 more to go.
Yeah, but
Lucas,
I feel
what's
like I'm
that
gonna
Mayo
get
game
one.
again?
Yeah, I'm not gonna see. See those like the cheap platinums like that. Yeah, it's like yes, I got a platinum, but for me, it's like it doesn't feel it wouldn't feel the same as actually
No, but
working at it.
I'm gonna help you.
Like the Injustice 2 platinum, it took me a year and a half to get.
Yeah,
and
no, that's legit.
So,
And I'll look through your trophy list, buddy. I can help you. I mean I have like 100 and some platinums, and I've researched a lot of that nerdy trophy stuff. So
yeah,
I'll look at your list. You might have some games that you could just do a new game plus or do a few things, and you'll be able to get it won't be an easy platinum, but it will be I think it'll be a good platinum because you feel a little closure with whatever the game you had played before, and you just finish it.
Yeah,
There's some good ones.
Okay, for sure. Yeah,
I'll
take a look at that because I know I'm gonna get the Madden one. I'll probably get that one in January. The Beat Saber one I want to get. It's gonna take quite a while, but I play that enough where I think I can get that one. And then Red Dead, I believe I'll be able to get this year if I continue at the pace I am playing. I'll get that one as well. So I'm gonna get 3 platinums, I believe,
Nice.
just by those games alone, and not counting any other games I'm gonna buy. So yeah, cool.
Nice. Mark, how about you, buddy?
So my resolution, my fun one for 2019 specifically, is kind of along the same line, except for I want to stream more and do Let's Plays specifically for the GMG YouTube channel. I really want to build that up this year, and I think it'll help me to not run into the issue that I had this past year of kind of dropping games and not picking them up for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It'll motivate me to sort of keep the ball rolling with our YouTube channel. So I definitely want to stream more Let's Plays and stuff like that for the new year for sure.
All right. So what would that look like for you in terms of streaming more? Would you like to stream once a week?
Yeah, I would say like maybe once or maybe twice a week. As I go through a particular game, I'll probably, whether it be just playing a multiplayer game or something like that, or whether it be an actual story-like game. I've got some that I'm interested in. I'm interested in playing like Anthem and Fear 2, and I'm sure there's others on the list that I'd like to play, that I'd love to do for the GMG YouTube channel. So
cool. Well, I think something I was thinking about before, and I've put streaming on the back seat, but I was really thinking about a Good Morning Guys Twitch channel, and maybe you could head that up, and we could work together, you, me, Patrick, and maybe even Ronnie. Maybe.
So you're saying there's a chance?
That
One in a million.
may or may not already be set up.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Maybe I wasn't paying
Make sure
attention. I missed it. Yeah,
I grabbed
very
it
good.
just to make sure. Yep.
Well, we'll talk about that and see how that'll work well. I think, Mark, with your resolution to stream more, and Patrick's as well. Patrick has his own channel, and we don't want to take away from that, but we'll definitely be able to combine our efforts. And I think between 2 different Twitch channels, one for the group and one for Patrick, we'll be able to make some good connections, play some fun games, have a blast together.
And I get to start my resolution with My Little Riding Champion.
Yes!
Does that have a platinum?
Oh, we got to look up the trophy
Play
list
it for
that.
40 hours.
Play
How long are you planning on
I really
streaming
hope there's a trophy
that
list
game?
for that.
You're going to do like a 24-hour stream of that game, right? Is that what you're doing?
Hour stream.
That's a negative.
Yeah, that's what you said your resolution was for 2019, to play that 24 hours straight. You said it. Did you not hear that?
We cornered him.
I feel like you had some wax in your ears or something like that when I was talking.
I bet you will have more people watching that stream than you probably think.
And I will welcome that, but I'm still not doing it for 24 hours.
I might even put that on my stream that on my television so my kids can watch with me.
There you go.
Of course, the backfiring will be my daughter. Well, no, my son will be like, "That game's fun. Let's get it." Like, no. No one in this house is going to be my little riding champion, my little stable riding champion. That's hilarious. Guys, we have a little more predictions to make, and we'll try to make these quick before we wrap things up, but I wanted to run some numbers past you about our first year. It's not our first full year, but our first 16 episodes are under the belt in 2018. After 16 episodes, we have a total of 1,906 listens, with an average of about 120 weekly listeners. Our top 5 episodes: number 5, technological nostalgia. Who can resist a little good nostalgia? Number 4, connections episode, making connections. Number 3 is, of course, video games. Number 2, our inaugural podcast, introductions. And then finally, who could imagine our number 1 episode, controversy?
And I can't believe that is number 1, because we were like, should we do a controversy episode?
I know, right? And it's our number 1 episode.
By far.
By far. Now, we're also very much an international podcast, and so I wanted to also mention our top 5 listening countries. Number 5, all the Brits in the UK. I was doing my Australian accent again. Hello, how are you today? This is the UK. That also includes Scotland. So here's looking at you, Ashley. Thanks for helping us in the UK department. We also have number 4, Canada. Which, have you guys met anyone from Canada yet?
Was anyone?
Do we know who from Canada is listening?
300, Mark. Do you know, or is everyone from the U.S.
From Canada? Yeah, I don't know for sure. I don't remember anybody specifically from.
The only one that I can
300.
think of right off the top of my head is Sean Capri, but I don't know.
Yeah, Sean Capri. I was wondering. Hey, Sean Capri, you out there? You listening? You listening?
Hey, what's up, Sean?
How you doing? How you doing, Sean? Well, anyways,
hey,
if you're
Canada
from
handsome.
Canada handsome.
Canada handsome.
Well, for you Canadians out there listening, you're number 4, and we want to thank you for listening. I want you to know that I know and have memorized most of your theme song, and maybe someday I'll sing it for you. That is not today, but I'm not prepared. Number 3 on the list is Russia. Who said Russia and the U.S. can't work together? Because Russia is number 3 in our listener international podcast.
I think there's a lot of people saying that Russia and the U.S. are working together.
Oh, are there?
But I'll leave that alone. Yeah.
Fair enough.
A little political humor.
Little political humor. Never knew that. You had that in you. Number 2, one of the home teams, Brazil, is number 2 of our listeners. Thank you, Brazil. Ci amo. Ci amo, Brazil. And then finally, that's I love you. Number 1, as you can all imagine, the number 1 country is the USA. God bless the USA.
USA. USA.
All right. So, with these little statistics, I want to go into the final little part of our time together and do a GMG podcast predictions for 2019. All right? I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and you guys are just going to give me a number. How we're going to decide the order is going to be based off a very complicated math problem that I'm going to do in my head, and we're going to figure it out. But how it's going to work is I'm going to give you the current number, and then each of us are going to take turns sharing our guess for, by the end of 2019, what that number is going to be. And then when we get to the end of 2019, we're going to go over these numbers, and then we're going to compare notes, and whoever gets the most correct, gets them between our resolutions and our predictions, is going to get a prize. And whatever that prize is, I have no idea, but the 3 losers are going to buy the prize for the person. We'll just figure it out when we get there.
All right.
All right, sound good? You guys ready?
Let's go.
Ready.
All right. So the way we're going to decide this to see who goes first is you're each going to pick a number between 1 and 100. I'm going to go last because I'm picking the number. And from there, it's going to be based on who's closest to the number I pick in my head, and then that will be the order. Sound good?
Is this without going over?
No, this is just who's closest to the number.
Just closest, got it.
Yeah. Now, it's funny you mentioned that. I will say that when we make our predictions for 2019, we are going to use Price is Right rules. So going over will make you lose. or be
All right.
disqualified, unless we all go over, and then whoever's the closest or whoever didn't go over the most.
It's a lot of
It's-
rules. All right.
It's guess what? It's how it is. So
Just go with
So
it.
bad
just
at
go
rules.
with it. I know, that's fine. I made the rules, so I'll remember them. Probably not. When we get to 2019, I'll be like, what are we doing again?
I predict that I'm not going to remember the rules.
Good. You don't have to remember them. So, Mark, pick a number between 1 and 100.
64.
64. I'm writing this down because I'm going to forget. Mark picked 64. Patrick.
65.
We're not doing the prices right yet.
65. Ronnie.
I'll take 63, Bob.
Oh, wow. All right. I thought you were going to go for $1. I'll take $1. All right. So you guys all picked within one of each other. The first one to go will be Ronnie.
Yeah.
The second will be Mark. The third will be Patrick. And then I will be fourth. And then we'll each take turns, whoever's going first. Okay? So everybody gets to go first once, second, third, fourth, etc. And I'm not going to tell you what my number is that I picked, because I picked the same number every single time, and no one's guessed it yet. Maybe once. This is with everybody at school and life. I do this, pick a number between 1 and 100 all the time. Anyways. All right. Ronnie, so here's the first question. By the end of 2019, what will be our total number of Twitter followers? Our current number is 585. Go.
1,500.
1,500. All right. Mark, how many Twitter followers by the end of 2019?
1,501.
Man, now I'm getting cornered.
Patrick, how many
You're
Twitter
supposed
followers?
to do that with the last. Okay. For me, 2,217.
2217. And then my number is going to be 2,000.
Right on the dot.
In the year 2000.
In the
Okay.
year 2000.
All right. So we got 1,500, 1,501, 2217, and 2,000. That's a decent spread. All right. Next up, Mark, you're going to start question number 2. Question number 2 is, what will be the number of Discord members that we will have on the GMG Discord channel page, whatever it's called? Right now, the current
We're
number
at 20
is
right now.
19.
19. Okay, my
Yep.
bad.
So by the end of 2019, how many will we have?
I'm going to go with 40.
40. Okay. Patrick?
52.
52. And I am
One for
going
every
to
week.
go... I am going to go with 53.
Well then,
Ru-
sir.
Ronnie, how about
You've
you?
been one up, sir.
I'm going to go with 54.
That's gonna happen. I wish it would have... I didn't think about that one. All right, 54.
Gosh,
So,
apparently I was shooting low.
yeah.
You got a
I'm
wide
going
range
higher
there.
than you.
Anything less than 52, Mark, it's yours.
Yeah. So pretty much Patrick and I shot ourselves in the foot. Actually, I shot Patrick in the foot, then I shot my foot, and then Ronnie shot me in the foot.
I shot both
it's got to
your
be
foots.
it's got to be your bull. I forgot about that. All right. Question number 3 is going to be Patrick starting us off. Patrick, what will be our total number of average weekly listeners? So pretty much that would be take the total number of listeners in 2019, divide it by 52 weeks, etc. What will be our average weekly listeners in 2019? Our current
42,000.
for 20. Wait. That's in the year 42,000.
That's a blank number guess.
Our current
Going blind.
average is 120. Like that's closed. For 2018 our average was 120 listeners a week. So for
All right.
2019, what do you think will be our average?
300.
Are you serious? That's the number I wrote down when I thought about this ahead of time.
Really?
What?
You
Okay.
freaking cheater. You looked at my notes.
300.1.
No, I'm just kidding. You can do 300. That's fine.
Okay.
So 300 for Patrick. Okay. Let's see. Next up is Ronnie. No, it's me.
200.
No, stop. It's my turn.
You already told us yours.
I went out of order. No, I can't pick the same number, though. He already picked 300. So I'm next. I'm going to do 325. I almost thought about doing 301, but that's kind of like sandbagging Patrick. I don't want to do that twice in a row. Just do one more. Now we're on to Ronnie. So how many, Ronnie?
285.
285. Apparently he does.
What the heck, Ronnie? That was literally the number I was going to pick.
You're all on the same page there, guys.
Yep. So how many for you, Mark?
I'm going to go 295.
295. All right. Very good. For the fourth question, we start with Mark. Wait a second. What's wrong with me? We start with me. I'm such an idiot. All right. Number 4. Sorry, it's 1:23 in the morning here. So for number 4, I'm going to start number of total listens that we're going to have by the end of 2019. Our current number after 16 weeks is 1,906. And my guess for how many total listens we're going to have by the end of 2019 is 12,345. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Nice.
Okay. Next up is Ronnie. How many do you think we'll have total listens? That means whatever shows up.
15,000.
15,000. Okay. Mark.
I'm going to do 13,267.
13,267.
Yes.
Okay. Patrick.
15,500.
All right. 15,500. I will say that when it all is said and done, I hope whoever has the highest number, I hope you win. All right. Question number 5 is we're going to start with Ronnie. And Ronnie, this is ironic. What will be our total number of iTunes reviews in 2019? The current number is 10. So for this one, it's going to be the total number, so it's going to be building off of the 10, just in case you were curious.
65.
65. All right. Mark?
I'm going to go with 50.
50. Patrick?
35.
35. And my prediction is 40. All right. Now, we have one more, because this is going to be a tiebreaker just in case. Bonus question. How many episodes in 2019 will be 90 minutes or less?
Oh, my goodness. Is that counting spoiler casts and the one-offs? Or just regular weekly episodes? Because we have 2 of those. You know,
I'm just gonna say anything we post that can be considered, I don't know, spoiler casts. I think spoiler cast and episodes should work. That's all we'll ever do, right? Spoiler cast and episodes. So like if it's something that's made to be shorter. Yeah. So I guess it depends on how many. So it might be taking into account how many spoiler casts we're going to do too.
Okay, so out of 52 episodes, and say we do maybe 5 spoiler casts. I mean, that's generous.
Sure.
Okay, so out of 57 episodes, really?
All right.
Okay.
So out of all of our episodes we post, how many will be 90 minutes or less? And we'll go ahead and start with Ronnie again. How
6.
many, Ronnie? Okay. Mark?
9.
9. Patrick?
2.
2. And I am going to go with my ugly number that my uncle gave me back in the day because he couldn't remember his nephew's names. I was ugly number 4. And so my guess is 4 episodes of 90 minutes or less. All right, guys. We did it.
Cool.
We made our 2019 predictions, and we have 365 days to try to reach our goals. I will definitely be interested to see how the chips fall, what hand we're dealt in 2019, but I'm also very, very, very excited, and I'm sure you guys are too. Faux show. So, that being said, we're going to go into our final stretch, into our good morning inspirational time. where we share about music, share about some kind of final thoughts. This is the perfect time to close out 2018. So if you guys have any final thoughts, Mark, if you have some final music for 2018 to share with us, if we have any dad jokes or anything else, now's the time to share it. So,
all right. So I do have 3 songs to add to our Good Morning Guys morning playlist. Which you can
do you
search.
know, real quick, how many songs do we have on that playlist after 16 episodes?
Including these 3 that I'm about to mention tonight, we have 36.
Okay.
So
cool.
So the 3 that I'm going to mention tonight, they are actually kind of New Year's themed. So the first song is the song "Better Days" by the Goo Goo Dolls. Great song.
Mm-hmm.
The second song is "The Final Countdown" from Europe.
Yeah,
It's the
nice.
final countdown.
Oh man, that's gonna sound
perfect.
awful on the recording. It's gonna be great.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Yep, it is.
Can't wait to hear you mix that up.
And then finally, the third song is the song "New Year's Day" from U2.
Cool.
So
All right.
enjoy those new songs
Very cool.
and enjoy the Good Morning Guys morning playlist on Spotify.
All right. Patrick, you got anything?
Um,
Or Ronnie?
no, I mean this is probably not gonna go up until maybe it depends on how much I can edit it. This is not gonna go up until after my stream for the 100 loot boxes, 100 dad jokes. So
Yeah.
dang, oh,
It's
well.
all good.
I'll cut that out. Nothing for me.
Fair enough. Ronnie, you got anything to close us out on this last podcast of
I'm back from my
2018?
recent journey. Couldn't hold it any longer. Had to abort and pee. But I feel relieved now. And,
Hey,
yeah. No, I don't have anything further, though.
Those are some good
Patrick,
thoughts.
make
though.
sure to insert some toilet sounds, some going to the bathroom sounds when you edit this, so it fits
I was
well
just
with
sitting here and I
Ronnie.
was like, you know what? There's no possible way I can even make it through Mark's music recommendations, so I got to run.
Especially if he started going into
Even if
like,
they were quick, he could just name 3 songs.
Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls. Like he's like, hey, I put Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls on that song on there. What else? What other songs about water can I talk about that we put on the list? That would have been the worst. Well, the last final thought I wanted to share, I think, is pertinent to what we were talking about in making resolutions. I really hope that people don't skip over the joy of, and the challenge of making resolutions. We made a few, and I hope that some of you that are listening, I hope you will take the time to really reflect on 2018, and even if you're a couple days, couple weeks, even a month into 2019, and you really haven't made a resolution, you haven't made a goal for the year, the year that you're in, I really recommend to really take some time and just sit back and think about what's one thing I want to accomplish this year. What's one thing I want to do? I think it's really important to do. And if you feel like you're setting yourself up for failure, I want to read Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 and 23. It says this: "The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." I really like these verses, not just because it talks about God's love and faithfulness and all those things, but it gives me hope. Like, I really like the part where it says his mercies, they're new every morning. And I think that applies to years too. Like, I love the feeling of starting a new year, kind of starting fresh. Some people will say it's just like, it's not real, like it's just another day, it's just another year. But I really feel like every morning, every day is a new opportunity to love others, to do good to others, to connect with others. And when you start a new year, you have a great opportunity to make a change, even if it's just a little change, like to do something to help others, random acts of kindness, whatever that may be. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on trying I'm making an effort. Make some kind of realistic, something that's feasible that you can do. And if it's just one thing, that's cool. If it's, it doesn't have to be this huge, I'm going to read 50 books and I'm going to lose 50 pounds and I'm going to do this and that. Set yourself up for success, but don't give up on having success. Really, really make an effort and know that God and your friends and your family, they want to help you and they want to encourage you. And so give other people an opportunity. Talk about it. Share it with us, on the Discord, on Twitter, on Facebook. Share your resolutions. Let's all hold each other accountable, because I think for all of us, the fun and the serious resolutions that we set for ourselves, we're going to be able to do it because we're going to do it together, and we're going to encourage one another, and it's not going to be easy. I think we're all going to make it past January 12th, but even if some of us struggle by January 12th, I think talking about it and sharing it will give us a great opportunity to have success and to see it through February, March, April, May, June, July, all the way to the end of 2019. Cool?
Very cool.
Cool.
Well said.
All right. Well, that's all for this good morning. Remember, connect with us as a podcast on all those social medias. The Good Morning Guys are at the GMG Podcast. Beyond that, we look forward to talking at you again next week in 2019 on podcast services around the globe as we celebrate the new year, talk about our New Year's resolutions and how they're going in their first week. I think it'll be fun. And that's all I have for today. That's all we have. My podcasting brothers, Pat, Marc, and Ronnie J, and you listeners, our friends and family, go get your good morning this week. May God bless and guide your lives as you live, work, and game. And until next year, ciao. Bye.
See you next year.
1, 2, 3, 4.
"2019's here, it is here. I don't know what to sing, dear.
You really surprised me when you started singing
If
that.
you like to drink, go get a beer.
Oh, goodness.
But you don't have to hear.
For all
La, 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 leer.
acquaintance be
Yeah, there we go.
forgot
Be
I don't
forgot
know the
and
words.
never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgot in days of old lang syne?
That was amazing.
You need to cut that and put that as the exit after the credits.
Don't tell me what to do.
My resolution for 2019,
Hey, you jerk.
tell Patrick what to do. Edit that now, sucker.